Hello and welcome. So the End Bad Governance protest across most parts of Nigeria may have fizzled out, but there's one big talking point now from the protest that is still generating plenty of reactions. And that is the issue of protesters waving Russian flags during the protest. And to be candid, there were many of them in the north of the country. And this Russian flag waving protesters did not stop there. They kept chanting slogans demanding military intervention now in Nigeria. It's really something serious, and understandably, the government is not taking the issue lying low at all. The Chief of Defense Staff called a meeting of all the defense chiefs and heads of security agencies in the country recently, where all of them clearly and openly pledged their allegiance to democratic governance in the country, vowing to hunt down those calling for military coup. Take a lesson to what some of them said.
It's our duty to protect Nigerians. The only people we're after are those ones that don't mean us well, the enemies of the state. And anyone who makes himself an enemy of the state then will be ready to face the law. We're going to remain focused, committed. We're going to respect human rights, the rights of everyone who is lawfully performing his task or his duty, but we will not relent in pursuing those that have continued to encourage unconstitutional takeover of government or subversion, vandalism, or destruction of lives and property.
In Kano, Kaduna, Katsina, and Bauchi State, group of people who started subversive campaign, waving flags of other countries and openly calling for military takeover of government. This is not a protest, but an offense of treason. The Nigerian police has arrested a number of them, and they will be dealt with accordingly. They will be given appropriate charges. I want to use this opportunity to warn our youths to desist from accepting foreign flags from agents of destabilization. It is very, very implicating for them to be seen with flags of other countries while on protest.
I want to, on behalf of the officers and soldiers of the Nigerian Army, state unequivocally that the Nigerian Army stand assured in defense of our democracy, of our peace, of our harmony, and we are not going to shift ground on that. Our return to democracy in 1999 as a nation cost us blood and treasure. So my appeal to youth is that what we have witnessed in the past 5 days is an investment, needless investment of blood, of treasure, calling for an unconstitutional change of government. The Nigerian Army will not sit by and watch the nation slide into anarchy.
The armed forces of Nigeria is constitutionally charged with the responsibility of defense of the nation from both internal and external aggression and protection of the sovereignty of this country. And this is for the overall good of the entire citizens of this country. In addition to that, the Armed Forces Act has given us several other responsibilities which enable us to provide aid to civil authority. Key among these responsibilities is the protection of democracy and the protection of the freedom of Nigerians and their freedom to be able to select who should lead them. And that's why I say that the armed forces is the power behind ensuring that democracy thrives in Nigeria, and we are committed to do that because that is our mandate and it's something we've been trained to do, and we have to just do it.
Now, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Yusuf Tuga, also summoned members of the diplomatic corps in Abuja, telling them that Nigeria as a sovereign state will not tolerate any interference in its domestic affairs by foreign elements. In response to the flag issue, Russia, through its embassy in Abuja, has since issued a statement dissociating itself from the protesters waving its flag and denied any involvement in organizing the protest. Meanwhile, the Nigerian police says it has arrested 30 protesters, some of them foreigners, in Abuja, Kano, Kaduna, Katsina and Bauchi in connection with the flag waving issue, while the Department of State Services, DSS, has disclosed that its operatives have arrested some tailors sewing Russian flags for protesters in Kano State. Joining me now from the United States of America to discuss more on this issue is a former director in the Department of State Services, Dennis Amakari. Mr. Amakari, thank you very much for joining us on the program. You look at the number, the sheer number of those waving Russian flag during the protest, the End Bad Governance protest over the past week. You look at the sheer number. Would you say that was a coincidence, or this was something carefully orchestrated and that designed also to send the message across?
Okay, thank you very much, DEJI. You see, this is a very well orchestrated plan, but I think they were not very. I think they did it in a hurry, but it was well orchestrated. The plan was there, and then of course they went ahead to make sure that they carry out the plan during the protest, so that they can infiltrate. These are the infiltrations we are talking about, or hijacking of the protest that we are talking about. So they were hit there to do, just that. So it's well orchestrated, yes.
And obviously, you look at this, it would appear they are borrowing a leaf from what happened in Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso, because this is exactly what played out in Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso, where we saw protesters waving the Russian flag and all of that. And I'm just wondering, what exactly is going on here?
I think it is a sign. It is something that Nigeria has to be worried about, just like our military top brass are worried. The diplomatic corps will be worried. The National Intelligence Agency should be very, very worried, because, this particular orchestration that we just mentioned is something that is not far-fetched. It's not far-fetched. You can see, you can connect the dots, to see how it works. Because now we have a scenario whereby Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger Republic have come together, have been overthrown, first of all, by a military dictatorship. And after the overthrowing, you saw the response of their citizens who came out to hail them, and the hailing tells us a lot of things. What does it tell us? It tells us that the people were dissatisfied with their own governments. So now that they are dissatisfied with their own government and the military has come to take over, they were very happy. And then, of course, the military went further to show that the West, that is France especially, their colonial masters, had been, blindsiding them, whereby they've allowed them to not know what is going on, and while they go ahead and take their minerals, uranium, and other natural minerals, and then selling them. Uranium used to cost about, they were paying Niger Republic about 85 cents a gram, 85 cents a gram, but in the world market, it is about almost $1,000. So you find out that the disparity, and of course the government has gone ahead to use the new income that is coming out to change the fortunes of the country. Now you find out that, remember, this is our neighbors. And that was why we were saying that, look, this is, when ECOWAS wanted to attack Niger. And we advised against it. If you remember, we were talking about it, that they should not attack Niger because these are our neighbors. And besides this, we've intermarried. Our borders are open to each other, And right now you can see what has happened. People that are living there have come into Nigeria. And then, of course, what do they do? They've gone ahead to give them that idea, because the tailor that is sewing that those flags, don't have a full idea because of what he has done. You discover that the Russian flag is white, horizontally white, blue, red. But there are some of the flags that he sewed that were instead of vertical, they were horizontal. So some people said, oh, this might be Nigerian Army colors, because they are the same colors, white, blue, and red. Yes, Nigerian Army colors. And at that same time, these same people were talking, there were some videos I saw where they were asking for the military to take over. So we are seeing a situation of what we call subversion. Subversion. Somebody is trying to subvert the Nigerian sovereign state. And subversion is high treason. So this is where we are. And of course, I'm happy that they are handling it, but they have to go deeper, because you see, it's not the tailor. And it's not even the contractor who told the tailor to sew. There are people who are behind this. Forget about what Russia told you. Russia came out to say, oh, we are not involved in this. What do you really expect Russia to say? That we were involved? Even if they were involved, they will not say anything. But we have to watch it, because geopolitics, Russia wants a foothold in Nigeria especially. They want West Africa as a whole. So these are the other projections that, we can think about in this particular.
And the truth is, you look at the children who were waving those flags. Most of them would not even know anything. They wouldn't even know what they were doing.
As far as they are concerned, it's just they've paid them. Remember, they paid them, and give their flags, go to the protest, see money, you can eat, buy food later. And these are urchins. These are the Alamajiri kids that we've been talking about. Jonathan put them in school, but after later governments removed the schools, and these guys are back on the streets. And as long as they are back on the streets begging for food, this is an opportunity where somebody will come and give them some money, give them a flag, and tell them, okay, go ahead and fly it. And then, of course, later you can go and buy some food and eat. And they will be very happy to do it, because they don't even know what it is. As far as they are concerned, it's a piece of flag or a piece of cloth that they are waving.
Now, you look at the protest itself. While we saw this issue of Russian flag waving in the north, we didn't see it in the south. I mean, clearly demonstrating that should I call this some kind of division now, or a difference in agenda? Because clearly the agenda of the protesters in the south of the country I would say, it's completely different from the agenda of the majority of the protesters. Not all. There were some in the north, of course, whose agenda for the protest now aligned with those of the south. But for the majority of them, the agenda was completely different. And then you begin to get the impression that we're beginning to see some clear divisions now, in the country between the north and the south in terms of maybe the kind of governments we want?
Yeah, well, you put a finger on it. You put a finger on it because, see, the threats to the security, the national security of Nigeria, the threats are basically about 3 or 4 of them. Number 1 is religion. Number 2 is ethnicity. I think number 3 again is headers and, all these people that are hitting each other. And then, of course, we have the other ones like poverty, unemployment, and stuff like that. But the major 2, the religion and the ethnicity, are biggest threats to Nigerian security, where politicians are the ones that they use it all the time. They use it. They will go there and tell, them, whichever one who is ready to listen, that this is what is going on. This is happening to me because I am a Hausa man, or this is happening to me because I'm an Igbo man, or they don't like us because we are Yorubas now in charge. And then people, of course, the ethnic thing. You are talking of the North. The division there is very clear because we didn't get this kind of protest before, but now when you look in the South again, look at the Southwest, everything was very nice and normal, and the protest was going on, but there is this ethnicity thing that has come in again, talking about Igbos who are not even part of the protest, And you see, these things, I don't know whether they are bigger than our leaders, but our leaders need to, deal with it, because you allow it to fester and these guys use it for their own benefits or for their own agenda. Because what has, Igbo must leave Lagos, what has that got to do with the protest that is going on? They've even decided not to be there. Then, of course, in the North, we are having all these protests because it is not a Northerner that is in the presidency. Why are we still hitting on this ethnicity and religious things? We're talking about Muslim tickets, or why is it not, a mixed ticket, and all those kind of things. Those are things that are hanging over the heads of our country. And these threats must be addressed. Otherwise, we'll continue to play them over and over again.
Finally, sir, what do you expect the authorities to do, especially with this, this Russian flag issue? Because it's obviously, just as you've said, it's not a coincidence. This was carefully orchestrated, and of course, it's dangerous. So what would you expect the authorities, especially the security agencies, to do at this time?
I think the DSS is already investigating, and I'm very, very, I have to praise them for being very fast in dealing with, in trying to get these people that are under their custody, So they should interrogate them, and the interrogation is going to bring out a lot of things that will surprise Nigerians. But at the same time, we should understand something. Our politicians, in fact, the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, should realize now that in our northern boundaries, our northern neighbors, the neighbors of Niger, Burkina Faso, and Mali, the AES states, are backing, or they are being backed by Russia. Yes. And Russia has been selling them armaments, large, serious armaments. And of course, sometimes they bring it out to display, like in Burkina Faso. Even in Niger, there are large armaments being supplied to them, and they display them. Now, if something like this is happening, what does it mean? It means that there is a foreign power that is trying to galvanize forces, possibly against Nigeria. Because let Nigeria not think that, oh, the days where another country will invade another country is over. No, not at all. Even the leader of, was it Mali? Mali has said it, that one of these days they will. When we told them that ECOWAS is going to attack them, they said, let them try it, because when they try it, they will march into Nigeria. They see it as a Nigerian fight, not as an ECOWAS fight, because ECOWAS chairman is Nigerian. So we have to be very careful. If I was the president, I'll close those borders. And at the same time, make sure that, we put the military, because the military should know that this is the real job. It's not internal security. The real job is fighting against foreign enemies. And they should line themselves against that area to make sure that nobody have any funny ideas about attacking Nigeria.
Mr. Dennis Amakri, thank you very much for your time and thank you for your insights.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it, sir. We'll take a short break and we'll be right back. Opinions are free, facts are sacred, but truth is universal. How, in practical terms, can we, for instance, de-escalate the tension?
Because when you go into public office, you must be ready to answer to the people.
We know where the enemy is. 3 places. The Lake Chad Basin, the border area between Nigeria and Cameroon, and then the Sambisa Forest.
On DEJI360, we give you a complete dose of everything. Opinion, facts, and undiluted truth.
I hardly believe what politicians say in this part of the world.
A new Nigeria is possible, a future is possible.
We delve into the issues, dissect it so that you can understand it, use it to take action.
I don't think there's any need for any governor to look for grant for ranching.
DEJI360, dissecting the issues.